This pilot is about to fulfill a childhood dream. This is a Hawk T Mark 1. It's known as the MG of the Air Force. It flies faster than the speed of sound. And this pilot has never flown it before. This is the story of a year in the life of a group of pilots as they try to fulfill their ultimate dream. Richard Fawkes read mechanical engineering at Nottingham University. He wants to fly the Tornado F3. Matt Fleet trained as a boots optician. He wants to fly the Eurofighter. Mark Baker spent 6 months travelling in South America before joining the RAF. He hopes to fly the Tornado GR4. Lewis Cunningham studied literature and taught in Namibia before joining the RAF. Squadron leader Dave McBride has been an RAF navigator for 18 years. He doesn't care what he flies, he just wants to be a pilot. This is the first day of a gruelling year at No. 4 Flying Training School RAF Valley on the west coast of Anglesey. Every fast jet pilot in Britain must spend a year in Wales, training, training, training.
They tend to send the best guys to fast jets, and you want to be one of the best guys.
Good morning, gentlemen. Please sit down. Well, good morning, and very, very warm welcome both to Valley and, of course, to 208 Squadron.
It's the adrenaline, the exhilaration of flying by yourself or possibly just with one guy in the back. Very agile aircraft, very fast, very capable. You're the weapons. You're the infantryman in the sky.
It's got to be the excitement of it, the rush, when everyone's seen jets flying through the valleys. I saw that all the time and just thought, wow, I want to be doing that. That looks like the best job in the world.
Tends not to be used in modern society.
Ahead of them lies months of hard work in what is nicknamed the Pilot Factory.
We're running at 100% on everything that we do.
Only 1 in 40 pilots makes it to fast jet training. To get this far, they have already excelled, but now they're about to be pushed to their limits.
All the maps are colour-coded to confuse you, okay? So
There are 2 squadrons based at Valley. At 208, they learn to fly the jet. At 19 Squadron, they're trained to use it as a weapon. The pilots have to pass through both squadrons to make it to the front line. This is the first time in 25 years that cameras have been allowed in to film the course at Valley.
208 is the busiest fast jet squadron in the Air Force. At the moment we're putting up 68 sorties a day on the one squadron. Today is the start of teaching you to take an aircraft as a weapon and go out and kill somebody with it. Now that's a hard thing to think about for some guys sometimes, and some people might not have thought about that very carefully. If you haven't, give it some thought, because that's the way we go about business. The pace of flying here is intense, and you'll get to the squadron and you'll find that out fairly quickly. We are here to get you through here, to get you out the other side, through 19 Squadron and onto the fast jet front line. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Quite a hefty piece of equipment. It's air-cooled.
Before they get their hands on a jet, they have to get through ground school.
The actual spin itself and the bullet on the front.
6 weeks of combustion rates, pressure differentials, stress limitations, voltage parameters, topped off with a written exam.
Drops. You need to get this rat out, the ram air turbine, out into the air.
Up until this point, these pilots have only flown the Tucano. The jump they now have to make from propeller aeroplane to a jet aircraft is immense.
How are you finding your first day?
Not too daunting yet.
Quite excited, after seeing the aircraft close up. Especially compared to the little propeller one next to it. It's a huge piece of an aircraft. It looks really fun.
Above us yesterday, they just said it's an incredible aircraft to fly, so much more capable than anything we've done before.
Have you been in a fast jet before, Mark?
No, I'm the only one here who's never flown a fast jet. So, 5 weeks' time will be my first time. Looking forward to it.
Hello and welcome to the BBC's news at 1 o'clock. Diplomatic moves are intensifying at the United Nations as the Security Council tries to reach agreement on Iran.
It takes 4 years of hard graft and over £1 million for each raw recruit to be turned into a fast jet pilot ready for the front line.
4, would it be reading 20? Or would it be reading
right now, we are preparing the young pilots who are going to be leading our service potentially in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So the importance of the job that we do here at Valley is absolute.
Fantastic bit of kit, this.
The job we're asking these people to do does require intelligence, requires judgment, strength of character, purpose. Those are all sort of the personnel attributes that I really want to see in the pilots that I'm progressing through here.
The day begins at 8 in the morning and goes on late into the night. For the first few weeks, the pilots spend hours with their cardboard cockpits, simply learning the drills for switching the engine on.
Top Gun was quite a glamorous movie, but there's a side to it that's not as glamorous in that when we finish work at 5 o'clock, we come back to our rooms and we sit in front of our cardboard cockpits and we do checks, we learn emergencies, we plan for the next sortie. So in that respect, no, it's not glamorous.
I don't know what other people think of military aviation. Do they consider it glamorous? Perhaps they do, but I'm in it for maybe a deeper reason than glamour, I think.
With strong winds blowing from the south, ferry sailings from Holyhead are cancelled. But that's exactly where the pilots are heading for a sea drill.
If any wind center comes past me, give me a bit of that.
Rich Fawkes was brought up in London and joined the RAF when he was 21.
It's a fun job, certainly for me, because it is both physical and mentally taxing. You've obviously got to be fit, you've got to keep your level of health fairly high, but at the same time, mentally, it's going to be very, very hard work. You've got a lot of things to think about.
Okay, you've got to get this squared away in your head. The next time you need it, might be the real thing, okay?
I always knew I wasn't going to be one who's going to be able to sit in an office and work the 9 to 5 day, and this is, I think, the ideal job.
Wearing the full flying suit and still strapped into a parachute harness, they're dragged through the water as though the parachute is caught in the swell.
Slower, yeah? A wee bit, yeah. We practice this in the swimming pool. We're not out here in the elements. It's a little bit different.
They say it's sea state 5. I don't know
what that means.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a lot or a little.
It looks quite rough to me.
Sea state 5 is the worst sea condition that they can safely practice the drills in.
Okay.
If a pilot ejects, part of the seat comes with them, and inside is their survival dinghy. Mark Baker has to disentangle himself from the harness and parachute. Then his dinghy should inflate automatically. The reason for doing these drills soon becomes apparent. When Mark's dinghy fails to inflate, he has no option but to try to get in and then inflate it manually from the inside. brief struggle, Mark gets inside his dinghy and blows it up himself. Next up, Rich Fawkes.
It is definitely more than a job. A job you can pretty much stop thinking about at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock when you leave the office. Certainly with this one, you can never really stop. The work itself continues, and you leave the squadron at whatever time, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, you go home and you'll continue to work all night, and you'll certainly be thinking about what you're doing. I think the very fact that you have to move with the job, you live with the people you work with, definitely does make it's more of a way of life.
We've known each other for a year and 4 months, and we've all got on, not only on a professional basis, but you have to gel. It takes a certain type of person to do what we're doing, not the actual flying side, but the whole social side, because you're living with each other every day. You never get away from each other. We all go and eat together in the mess. We all go and have a drink together in the bar, talk about what you've done that particular day. And if you didn't get on with people, then it would be a hellhole.
Rescuing the pilots from the water is a Sea King helicopter from 22 Squadron. All RAF search and rescue personnel are trained at a special unit based at RAF Valley. Today's exercise is as much practice for them as it is for the pilots in the water. And Rich, most of the pilots who go through Valley are in their early 20s.
Level 1 starts with a triple bling after the 5-second countdown.
But in this group, there is one exception. At 38, a squadron leader and Gulf War veteran with 18 years' experience as a navigator, Dave McBride outranks most of the people who will teach him to fly.
Why do you want it so badly?
Difficult one to explain. It's probably, I mean, part of it is definitely the serving the country bit, and that
You were
probably
serving
for
the country in the back, though.
Oh, I know, but to me, that the front seat was where I always wanted to be, and back seat, and the other navs will hate me for this, in my mind was always second rate to me. I'd always be, in my mind, a slight failure if I never made it into the front seat.
Throughout his time in the RAF, he constantly applied for fast jet pilot training without success. At 38, Dave was due to leave the service and resigned himself to a future as an airline pilot.
Yeah, cab driver, taking people on holiday. Not the same thing as flying around at 500-600 knots, going to war, upside down, low level, all those things. Just not the same, but in my mind I had something to prove to me that I could do it. I also had to prove to an awful lot of other people that over the years had said, oh, well, you'll never make it, you might as well just accept it, you're going to be a nav. I said no, and I said to all of them all the way through, you're wrong.
Level 7-4, 35 to 39 is finishing on this line.
Why are you stopping, Dave?
That's the requirement for me, 38. So the lowest of them all, and the younger they are, the more they have to do. So bonus for being old for once. It's very different from when I was young. Things have changed, the sort of values, mobile phones, texting everybody every 2 seconds, all that sort of thing. So it is quite different. So yeah, but it's good. It's like buying a puppy for an older dog, and it makes me feel younger, so yeah, it's good.
Take a job.
Yeah,
be good.
That's
be great.
Take a job.
Matt Fleet grew up in Grimsby and, as soon as he was old enough, joined the Air Cadets.
As a teenager, where I was from, there wasn't really a lot else to do. In the evenings, you could choose to go and hang around on street corners, and drink your bottle of Mad Dog 2020 or whatever it was that teenagers did, or you could go down and join a youth club, which was just an extension really of drinking on a street corner. So I decided I wanted to actually do something in my teenage years, so I joined the Air Cadets, and it meant I could represent a team at sport. I could get flying for free. I got a uniform, so I had some sense of achievement.
You know, the wiry stuff hangs off the bottle, the string hangs off the back.
I've signed on for 18 years, so I think that's, well, there's prison sentences that are less than that, which is one way of looking at it, but no, 18 years I've signed on for, so I'd say that was a pretty permanent career. As it's what I've wanted to do since I was 7, then I was more than happy to sign on the dotted line for 18 years.
Today, Matt gets his first chance to fly a jet. But it's not a real one, it's a virtual jet in Valley's state-of-the-art flight simulator.
It's basically just a familiarisation, get to go through all of the checks, get to learn the new environment. We've come from this car now, we're now sat in a whole new cockpit, all new dials, switches, knobs to press. But they all need to be pressed in the right order, so this is sort of the first one, go and press them in the right order. And have a look at the local area through the simulator. It's a bit like a PC computer game in a way, so you can learn all about the local area and have a look, see what Valley looks like from here.
To achieve his childhood dream, Matt, like all the other pilots, has to live, eat and breathe fast jets. There's little room for anything else, even a love life.
Because the job is so intense, every weekend will not be available to travel home. There will be work to do, there's checks to learn, there's sorties to read up for, etc., missions to plan. So, unfortunately, there was no contest when it came to the job that I've wanted to do since I was 7, or a girlfriend that I've been going out with for 3 years, and the job won.
Encased in a metal sphere, the simulator is the only one of its kind in Britain. It cost over £18 million to build and contains a fully working Hawk cockpit. The 360-degree graphics replicate the experience of flying so realistically that even the Red Arrows come to Valley to train on it. The controllers who guide the pilots through the sortie are all ex-RAF instructors with a wealth of knowledge to pass on to the youngsters.
Well, you're breathing heavily already. Excitement hasn't started yet.
Even though he's flying a virtual jet, this first takeoff is a dream come true for Matt. The pilots can fly anywhere in Wales. The computer holds detailed 3-dimensional maps of the entire country, complete with hills, rivers, bridges and towns.
Just climb slightly now, just gentlemen climb. If you look further left, you'll see the bridges, and obviously the straits getting underneath the bridges there.
After flying down the Menai Strait, he heads back to Valley. Then Matt turns south over the Llŷn Peninsula at 500 miles per hour.
You need a lot of bank and you need a pull to get around the corner. So remember at 350 knots we find the next side. We need 60 degrees of bank. 200. Okay, what we'll do now is turn round on the reciprocal, descend to into the bottom of the valley, and you can do your, enjoy yourself for a few minutes. No double, so go right. Keep coming right, right. That's the boy. Okay, roll out there, pull it around to the left. Quite hard work, isn't it? You've got the G pulling on you as well. Not too low, you're getting very low there. Up a bit, up. That's it.
That was good fun, yeah. It was quite hard work getting used to the speed and everything in the airplane, but no, it was really good fun. It's good to see the local area at low level and stuff. Really enjoyed it.
What have they got ahead of them now then?
Oh, steep hill.
I authenticate India, Magic 72, Hawk 3, authenticate Charlie 04. Hawk 3, I authenticate Delta, stand by for brief.
Operation Hawkeye. 4 cold, wet, tiring days for the pilots in the hills above Betws-y-Coed.
We've been carrying out airstrikes against some major...
Here they learn the techniques of survival and evasion if they're shot down in enemy territory.
We've shot down by SAM-10. We've been carrying out medium-level Paveway 3 attacks.
In modern warfare, the fighter pilots are the frontline troops. They go in first. Being shot down and captured is a real threat. Operation Hawkeye tries to simulate this experience. Amongst the smiling first-day photos at Valley is John Peters. He was shot down and captured in the 1991 Gulf War. The pilots know that this is not a game. It could save their lives.
I can see ya! Come here! Come on!
Do you ever imagine having to do this for real? I like to think I'm not going to have to, but yeah, I mean, it's happened. Just watched the video before we came out, Tornado Down, about the crew in the Gulf who ejected. I don't think they had very much time of doing this before they were captured, unfortunately. But and the conditions they went into was just flat desert. None of this protection we've got.
They've already spent 1 wet night out in the hills. Now they split into 3 groups. 7.5 kilometres away under this stone is a map, and it's their job to find it. They must avoid being detected by the Hawkeye marshals who are acting as the hunter forces. Matt, Ian and Dave stumble from one patch of waterlogged bog to another. Their progress is slow and tiring, and 38-year-old Dave McBride is flagging.
Yeah.
How far are we down?
Okay. It's like walking through treacle at the moment.
You've done a K, yeah?
That's why my calf's cramping up. Sure. We've done, yeah, just under a K. But we've got to carry on now, otherwise.
No, we know.
But not through this, rather.
Yeah, it's like walking through porridge. That's why the Forestry Commission make tracks and footpaths and things. Unfortunately, that's where the enemy are waiting for us, so got to go all the way around. It is very hard work.
The second team is Rich and Mark. They decide that cover is more important than speed and plough through a dense forest. Each team carries a GPS tracking system which uses satellites and can pinpoint their position within 10 metres.
Right, this is the moment of truth. Find if you're walking in the wrong direction for the last
check in on this. See whether it picks up any satellites.
Yep.
Yeah. 4K to go.
So we've done what?
About 600 metres.
Only another 4,000.
The third team, Lewis and Damien, make good progress by moving over higher ground. They get near the target and hole up. From their vantage position, they can see without being seen by the enemy. They plan to risk walking up the road to get to the rendezvous.
Let's play to your walking along the road idea, doesn't it?
Yeah, Magic 7-2, Hawk 3, authenticate, Charlie 04.
Right on cue, having avoided detection, all 3 teams take the maps. Marked on them is a grid reference which they must reach by nightfall for evacuation. It's only 2.5 kilometres as the crow flies, but moving covertly, that's more like 7. They all made it to the rendezvous by nightfall. It's quite a challenge. The pilots have already been on the move for over 12 hours. They think the helicopter is taking them to safety, but dealing with the unexpected is the point of Operation Hawkeye. The helicopter lands near the site chosen to make camp for the night. Once again, they're under enemy attack. The pilots have no choice but to run into the darkness.
Yeah, we know where we're going, we just don't know where we are at the moment.
If moving in daylight is about speed, nighttime is about stealth.
I thought it was car headlights, but I think there's actually probably a big spotlight just came up over the road there. Okay. So yeah, we're going to go back and reassess, have another look at the map.
They finally reach safety and begin to set up camp. It's 10:30 and it's been a 15-hour day. But it's the shared experience of overcoming this hardship that drives the pilots together.
By stone walls out, very solid.
That's what I like about you, Foxy.
Absolutely
Nothing.
And humour is the key.
I think it comes under the Air Force umbrella of banter. It's all harmless fun. Because it can be such a stressful job and lifestyle, I suppose we hide behind it a little bit in a way, but if you weren't able to have a laugh, you weren't able to have a joke, sometimes it would be like hell. You need to have some sort of bit of banter with a friend. Whatever takes the stress level down, at least one step has got to be worth it.
You want us to move, don't you?
Well, at some point.
So you can put your shelter up.
When it's convenient for yourself.
Well, it's never going to be
like
convenient.
about now. Trust me, it's convenient now.
It's here they begin to work as a team for the first time.
Can I use this spoon for my OT thing? And then you...
you wash it? Of course you can.
Of course you can, Malcolm.
Two weeks later and the new pilots at RAF Valley have come to the end of ground school. Technical exams are over and they all pass. But ground school was the easy bit.
Excited? Yeah, looking forward to it. It's a little bit new at the moment. I've not done all this before.
Mark Baker has never flown in a jet. Before he begins to fly it for himself, he's taken for the ride of his life in a Hawk T Mark 1. Next on Combat Pilot, Lewis gets a face full of CS gas. Dave gets to fly a Hawk on his own. And we meet the lobster of failure.
You can find out more about the making of Combat Pilot and about Live for the RAF Valley recruits at bbc.co.uk/combatpilot. Dave McBride has just done something he's wanted to do for most of his life. He's flown a jet very fast on his own.
Well, what can I say? I think the grin tells all. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
This is the story of a year in the life of a group of pilots as they try to fulfill their ultimate dream. For the first time in 25 years, we've been allowed into RAF Valley on Anglesey to film the highs and lows of the fast jet pilots of tomorrow.
Today is the start of teaching you to take an aircraft as a weapon and go out and kill somebody with it.
They spent the first 6 weeks in ground school. Here they got to grips with the jet engine both inside and out. They were put through an exhausting 4-day exercise. They practiced survival skills at sea. They were examined on every inch of the Hawk T Mark I.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
But it's now that the hard work really begins, and only the best will succeed.
UN weapons inspectors are due to arrive in Baghdad later this morning. Iraq says it will.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning. This is the pilot's first day at 208 Squadron, but there's little time to settle in. In 2 hours, they're scheduled to climb into the cockpit of a Hawk T Mark I with an instructor and fly. First up to fly is Dave McBride. Despite the obvious nerves, Dave is no rookie. He's served as an RAF navigator for 18 years, seeing action in Kosovo and the Gulf.
All sheets, please.
Sir, 1245, down McBride, GH1, 1041 hours, 3 signatures.
Good.
That's it.
Dave, so this is it. 18 years you've been waiting for this moment. How do you feel?
Very happy, actually, yeah. Just ready to get on with it.
Right, so scamping checks and safe direction, configuration, checking that it's set for us.
Throughout all the years he spent in the back seat as a navigator, Dave never stopped dreaming of moving into the front seat as a pilot. He's now been given that chance.
And never gave up, right to the point where I should have actually been leaving the Air Force this summer, having done my 18 years as a commissioned officer. And at that point, just still desperate to be a pilot.
The world has changed post-Cold War, and now combat pilots are being used as peacekeepers as well as frontline troops. The RAF needs more pilots, and with his experience and commitment, Dave is too valuable to let go. (10:50, November the 25th, 2002). It's a moment that Dave McBride will never forget. He fulfills a childhood dream and flies his first jet. While Dave is in the air, the other pilots settle in.
It's an unofficial how far you've got on the course board. I haven't actually got past the first hurdle at the moment, but obviously we've got the start here. Here are the sort of trip numbers. This is the first hurdle, which is your first solo trip. So once you've gone first solo, you're over that.
The road ahead is demanding. After just 6 flights, they'll be expected to fly a jet solo. The learning curve then gets steeper and steeper, pushing them to their limits and beyond. Each fence represents a test they must pass to continue. If they can't get over these hurdles, they'll be chopped.
What's facing you here, does it appear daunting?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Rich Fawkes, Lewis Cunningham and Mark Baker are up next. Today, Mark's instructor is Jules Thurston. Jules is a creamie. She has only just finished the course at 208 herself. She did so well that she was creamed off and sent back as an instructor.
What are you looking for from Mark today?
Basically, all we're going to do is get him flying and just have a feel for the jet, and hopefully to get him landing it by the end of the sortie. Fingers crossed. That is the idea, yes.
Exactly. Nervous?
A
little bit. It's good to be a little bit nervous. Good luck.
Yeah.
See you later.
Never be too complacent.
Pilots describe themselves as being in their bubble before flying. They seem to cut themselves off, running and rerunning through the countless procedures and checks.
10 piece.
Mark and the other pilots spent 6 weeks learning the theory of how to fly a jet. But nothing can prepare you for the real thing.
I expect it to be fairly mind-blowing, exhilarating, I hope. I expect a lot to happen that I really won't have a clue about. But, hopefully we'll learn in the next few months. It should be good fun.
RAF Valley covers 6 square miles of the windswept west coast of Anglesey. With 3 runways, 100 sorties are run every day, 5 days a week. It's the busiest military airfield in Britain. There can be up to 30 jets flying at once in the valleys of Wales, the Lake District and Scotland. After spending an hour flying circuits around the airfield, squadron leader Dave McBride comes in to land.
How was it? Fantastic. Is there any way of describing it? Fantastic, and the circuits worked out okay as well. Although it's never over till you've won the debrief. So,
is it worth waiting 18 years for?
Yeah. The first trip in the front seat, look at the weather, just top quality. He was able to show me all the ground features as well, which is a bonus around here this time of year, I think. So, fantastic.
There's only one thing on Dave's mind, and that's becoming a pilot. But there is a cost, not least for his wife and son back in Lincolnshire. During this year in Wales, he'll only see them at weekends.
The travelling is the hard bit for me, and the short time at weekends because of the distance that I get to spend with them. But during the week, I'm so busy. It's studying for a test or learning new checks. It's hard. And I think it's probably harder for Sheena because she's the one that is on her own in the house through the week. And yeah, she finds it hard.
Happy with that?
Easy.
How do you do? Fine. Yes, very good. Not bad for a first sortie at all. Very promising.
What was that like? That was fantastic, yeah. It's good. It's nice to sit in the front, be able to see what's going on a bit more. Control it? Yeah. Exactly. We'll try and control it. Any worrying moments? The landing is going to get used to it. It's very much like driving onto the runway, whereas before we've always been flaring and sort of settling it on. A bit different.
And in the next half hour, the first weapons inspectors will arrive in Baghdad.
All the pilots pass the first flying test, but as the pressure ramps up, things will not be so easy. When pilots fail a trip, it isn't hushed up. It's greeted with ritual humiliation, with the lobster of failure.
Whenever somebody fails a trip, they go and press the button, it does its thing, and everybody through there hears the lobster, and they all come through to find out who's biffed a trip.
Five-round check grouping, sent to our aiming mark, we're on time, go on.
United Nations inspectors are back in Iraq after nearly 4 years to search for weapons of mass destruction. The head of the UN team, Hans Blix, who's holding talks with senior Iraqi officials, described the situation as tense.
The state of the world at the moment, there's all kinds of unpleasant weaponry out there, and we need to know how to be able to operate in those environments.
Well, indeed, I mean, Hans Blix has just arrived now in Baghdad.
That's right, yeah.
Looking for this stuff. So does that concentrate your mind?
It does, certainly. Certainly. I mean, because we're going to be flying aeroplanes over countries where they're manufacturing these things. I mean, the aircraft itself has its own systems to defend us against it. But when we're back at our home base, if it were to come under some kind of chemical attack, then everyone needs to have the same level of skills to operate in those environments.
All RAF personnel, from the people who sort the wages to the people who actually fly, are trained to use the SA-80 assault rifle.
Yeah, sure.
A crucial part of the training is to know how to survive a chemical and biological attack.
We go into the CS gas respirator training facility just to see what it would be like to be operating in a gas environment.
Is that pleasant?
No, it's not. But for that, it's not meant to be pleasant. So that it makes you, really concentrate on what you're doing, so you don't get a lung full of CS.
What we need to do is carry out immediate decontamination of the chemical environment. Carry on.
Once in the gas chamber, Lewis and Mark have to remove their masks, decontaminating themselves with pads of Fuller's Earth. Even though the pilots screw up their eyes and hold their breath, as soon as their masks are off, the gas attacks moisture inside their nostrils, their ears, and even the sweat on their skin. All the pilots are fine, except Lewis. He's clearly in trouble.
Right, go on ahead. Right then. Right. Everybody wants to follow me out of the chamber. Right. Facing down that way. Yeah, big gulp of it.
Yes, brilliant was.
Don't rub your eyes. Right. So let the fresh air go in, face into the wind. Let the fresh air rub it down. You come down here.
Can you talk to us?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened?
I just got a face full of the stuff.
Right, I'm going to go back in again.
I didn't have enough breath left to breathe out or fully purge the inside of the respirator. Just ended up getting a face full of the CS.
How did it feel?
It's horrid. It's a horrid, horrid sensation. It's better now because I've got the wind blowing it off my face. But just for a minute, it was really nasty. I had to come out. I had to stop the drill. But it makes you think that if it was a real chemical weapon, then you'd have to be so perfect and so meticulous with what you're doing. Otherwise, it could easily be dead.
Despite the effects of the CS gas, that evening Lewis has another simulator sortie to pass.
You're going skiing soon?
Yeah, quite a lot of it is expected of us here. So, we're expected to perform, to deliver the goods, I suppose.
Every combat pilot on the front line has been trained at RAF Valley. It's the only unit of its kind in Britain. Station Commander Les Garside-Beatty experienced the pressure of fast jet training in the early 70s.
Our job is to get them through the flying training here at Valley. And I and my instructors will ensure that we give them every possible help to achieve that. If there comes a stage where it is evident to us that they will not succeed, then of course we will pull the plug.
The fast jet course at Valley is gruelling. These pilots with axes above their head did not make the grade. They were chopped.
20% of our students will not complete the course.
If he's right, then at least one of the pilots we're following will not make the grade. Only 1 in 40 pilots makes it to fast jets. The pilots at Valley have already excelled, but now they're about to be pushed to their limits. Two weeks later, the pilots are facing their first solo flight, the first crucial test of their abilities.
Is failure something you consider on this course?
Every stage you get to, it's something that crosses your mind because every trip is a potential fact.
No, it's not something I dwell on. I'm not saying I'm infallible and it won't happen, but don't think about it. Nobody's immune, nobody's invincible. You've got to be a person that thrives under assessment and tests because every fly is a test.
There's always lots of banter about getting chopped, as we say. It's not something you want to relish.
Flying solo is a huge psychological barrier. A pilot further up the course was chopped just a few days ago. Lewis Cunningham is in no doubt that he must perform well today. Lewis has to demonstrate to his instructor that he has the skill to take a £15 million jet up on his own and land it safely. The sortie did not go well. Lewis fails the trip. His circuits weren't good enough and his landings were poor.
Claude and Rob Leather, could you contact ops please? Claude or Rob Leather?
I don't know. I see the first solo in the Hawk as quite a big step, and to be deemed to be not good enough. And the instructor's right, because I wouldn't have sent myself solo flying after that. It is, yeah, it comes quite hard. It is a bit of a blow.
We're training them to have a lot of confidence in what they do. We're training them to think at quite incredible speeds. The aircraft flies at 7 miles a minute. They have to be able to process that sort of information that quickly to fly safely. What occasionally happens is that somebody reaches the limit of what we call their mental capacity.
And I feel at the moment like I haven't got any at all. Which to my way of thinking doesn't bode particularly well. But it comes as you get more comfortable with flying the aircraft and thinking about what's happening. That enables you to free up some of this capacity, which is not a tangible thing, it just exists. Or in my case doesn't exist yet. It frees up more of your brain to work on the real sort of finesse stuff. Yeah. Which at the moment is what I'm having trouble with. Well, I'm having trouble with the basics, but the finesse will come. It does worry me. But everyone has a bad trip now and again. I just hope that what happened this morning was mine.
The first flight of the day is known as the weather ship. It's sent off to assess the approaching weather conditions. It's not good news. The temperature is -7. The wind is gusting to 40 knots. For the pilots to go solo, they need near-perfect weather conditions. But this is Anglesey in December. There's no chance for Lewis to redeem himself today. Or the next day, too much cloud.
United Nations officials are analysing the thousands of pages of Iraq's weapons declaration.
In fact, they have to wait a whole week. There's either too much wind, too much rain, or too much cloud.
Mass destruction. But the United States and Britain will be looking for evidence that Iraq is concealing some of its weapons.
We need fairly good weather to do it, to be clear to do it. We can't go through cloud yet because we haven't been taught how to do it. So if we were going around the island and just inadvertently went into cloud, then that would be potentially a very dangerous position to be in, because we'd be quite low, with no kind of radar clearance, no idea really of how to fly in cloud. So to make sure all the bases are covered, the squadron need to make sure that the weather is fit to send us. It's got to be pretty good.
Defence officials here have confirmed that the government is taking a number of contingency measures to prepare forces for possible assault in Iraq.
It's the first morning of perfect weather on Anglesey for 8 frustrating days. And Lewis flies a good sortie. The commanding officer of 208 Squadron is happy for him to fly solo.
Right, Lewis, your first solo. Okay, good sortie that you did this morning. The aim now is to go off and do that on your own. Okay, a big step, first sortie in a fast jet, but the most important thing is that you display the same level of professionalism on your own as you do when you're with me as an instructor. Last point, it's your first solo. Enjoy it.
Okay. Try my best. Thanks very much, sir.
How are you feeling?
Nervous, but quite excited. It's going to be good.
How long will you be up in the air for?
I'm authorised to fly for half an hour. So won't go far over that, I shouldn't think.
So it's been quite a few years leading up to this moment, I guess, really?
Yeah, I guess so. I see this as quite a major step, really. I mean, I've flown solo in other aeroplanes before, but first time up in a fast jet. That's it's a whole different kettle of fish, really, from anything else I've done. So, yeah, big moment.
Also flying solo for the first time today is 23-year-old Richard Fawkes.
So 8 days of waiting, finally here.
23 and a half years of waiting. Yeah, definitely. It's been quite frustrating sitting on the ground, seeing all this cloud come over, all the high winds and all that, so it's nice to actually get a go at it at last. Jump at that hurdle.
Right guys, I've let the engineers know you're walking. All the details are on the board with Phase 5. It's a lovely day and you've seen weather conditions this morning already. There's nothing else I need to tell you. Have a safe and enjoyable sorting. Good luck, mate.
Yeah, have fun, mate.
Lewis and Rich's progress will be monitored in the control tower by flight instructor Nick Cogley. Lewis is off first.
That's a start. He's got everything in the right place.
Everyone, final together.
Good. That's one up. Yeah, that's fine, yeah. No problem.
Rich takes off next.
Good. Happy with that as well?
Everyone, down patrol.
We can keep an eye on them. We've got a little screen over here where we can actually track them going around the island.
Crash vehicle,
hang on.
cross 1-4.
So this is one of them here.
2-1 ahead.
And the other chain. Just coming around the back along the Menai Straits.
At 500 miles an hour, it takes just a few minutes for Lewis to go right around Anglesey from the Menai Strait to Holyhead.
They'll obviously get priority for about 2 or 3 circuits, just so they can practice what they've learned already.
On their first solo flight, Lewis and Mark should have clear skies around Valley. But 2 American F-15 fighter planes have requested air traffic control for an emergency landing. Lewis finds himself in their path and has to get out of the way quickly. An unexpected complication to his first solo flight. Lewis and Richard land safely, as do the Americans.
Great. Yeah, really good fun. Really enjoyed that. Sorry?
With the weight?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely. It was really, really awesome.
It's what I've been waiting for ages. Pretty special, still. But the weirdest thing was watching Lewis taxiing out. They didn't seem that different to me because I can't usually see the instructor in the back anyway. Yeah. But seeing Lewis taxi out in front of me onto the runway, you know, just him in the front seat. We sort of known him for quite a long time. Flying off in a jet just seemed all wrong. Made it back alive. That's the important bit.
There'll be some drinks in the bar. It's fair to say, I think.
Later that day, and not to be outdone, Dave McBride also flies solo for the first time.
It was quite strange. It felt normal to take off and then took off, and it was only when I got down the Menai over the top of Bangor and all of a sudden it was, I'm doing this on my own. I'm at 350 knots and there's Bangor, you can see for miles, snow on Snowdon, just unbelievable. and then back in for circuits. And funny old thing, the circuits were the best ones I've done all day. No instructor in the back, so I haven't got the extra pressure, but oh God, 18 years waiting for that. And it's just something else, absolutely top.
Right, welcome everybody to the Victor 72 Solo Certificate presentation.
Blue and yellow being the squadron colour, we mix something that looks and tastes suitably horrific to mark this momentous occasion of flying solos. Or something like that.
The Solo Barrel, a party to celebrate with those who've completed their first solo flight. Every frontline fighter pilot has drunk from this tankard after flying solo for the first time at Valley.
What they've achieved here must not be underestimated. To have flown a fast jet on your own for the first time is a huge leap in confidence. They're better pilots the trip after just because they've done it. Every single fast jet pilot that has succeeded on 208 Squadron has drunk from that pot. What's in it isn't important, but the fact that they've taken part in the celebration of with their comrades, with their friends, with their colleagues, and with the people who teach them to fly is the important thing. And one day they're going to have to go to war, and they're going to go there because they're part of the organisation, they're part of their mates, they're not going to let their mates down. So this is what it's about, esprit de corps, camaraderie.
The pilots are over their first hurdle, but ahead of them lies months of mounting pressure, unremitting scrutiny, and the constant threat of the lobster of failure. Next on Combat Pilot, the problems mount for Lewis. We meet an engineer with a passion for propulsion. The Red Arrows come to Valley, and anti-war protesters break into the base.
You can find out more about the making of Combat Pilot and about life for the RAF Valley recruits at bbc.co.uk/Combat Pilot.
Lewis Cunningham is a good pilot, but he has a big problem. If it can't be sorted, and soon, he'll never make it as a fast jet pilot. This is the story of a year in the life of a group of pilots as they try to fulfill their ultimate dream. For the first time in 25 years, we've been allowed into RAF Valley on Anglesey to film the highs and lows of the fast jet pilots of tomorrow.
Today is the start of teaching you to take an aircraft as a weapon and go out and kill somebody with it.
At ground school, they got to grips with the intricacies of the Hawk jet and endured survival training. At 208 Squadron, they've passed the first big hurdle, flying the jet solo. But the road ahead for these trainee pilots is long and hard. Not all of them will make it.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
For the trainee pilots, the new year starts with bad news. The war with Iraq looks inevitable, and a death has particular significance for 208 Squadron. The man said to be the last surviving fighter pilot from the First World War dies at the remarkable age of 106. A painting at Valley celebrates the courage of Henry Bottrell. He flew with 208. In Bottrell's lifetime, man had gone from gliding a few feet to the fast jets of today. flying is a punishing physical experience. And it's this simple fact that could get between Lewis Cunningham and his dream of becoming a fighter pilot.
Well, they've taken me off the course because of air sickness, which is a problem I've had at times so far in my flying training, but it's come back to bite me rather more severely here.
In the crushing turns, gravity can jump 8-fold, ramming you into your seat. Blood drains from the head. Just breathing is hard. The human body was not designed to tolerate these extremes.
Well, for me, it's motion sickness. It's caused by the imbalance between what your eyes tell you is happening and what your inner ears and your stomach sense is happening. Once the wheels are on the ground, I usually feel better. But in the air, it affects me really badly. As soon as my concentration goes, because I'm thinking about feeling ill, then I can't fly accurately, and all the other thinking things that we need to do when we fly just disappear, and I'm unable to concentrate on the sortie.
I think it's very hard for them, but I think it's important that we as instructors make it clear to them that it's the best thing they can do is admit that problem early so that we can take steps for them to overcome it. Because there's nothing worse than somebody like Lewis coming here with good potential, showing a good ability, and his performance starting to suffer because he's not feeling 100%.
Lewis is stopped from flying. The decision is made to send him to Farnborough for a grueling desensitisation course in the hope that that will cure the problem.
If we can make sure that we can cure the problem once and for all, then we'll do that. And there will come a time where if it continues to recur, then we're just going to have to turn around and say, I'm sorry, Lewis, fast jet flying isn't for you.
Lewis's career is in the balance. How he reacts to the air sickness cause will dictate his future. Leaving Valley, though, also means leaving behind close friends who'll carry on without him.
It's disappointing for anybody to be stunted in their training, to have to go off and take a couple of months out of training before sort of pursuing it again. You're sort of putting your career on hold a little bit. But I mean, I think with the problem that he was having, he had accepted to himself quite openly and to everybody else. He said, I've got a problem with it and I want to nip it in the bud now. And better to do it now than to get onto the front line and then flag it up and say, actually, I'm not really enjoying this. And
it's a shame to see him go, and but I think he's made the right decision.
Yeah,
he's got to sort of grip it and get himself sorted out.
Lewis is placed in the sickness bin on the pilot's unofficial course board. The other pilots, though, are doing well. Mark Baker is first across the halfway hurdle, called the progress check.
Yeah, done.
Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Woo!
The course is relentless, and the trainee pilots now begin to learn to fly in formation and the rudiments of precision navigation when you're flying at 7 miles a minute. The 208 Squadron is a place of two halves. On the top floor, the pilots in green.
30,000 troops, that's a quarter of the British Army, are on their way to the Gulf to stand by for possible action.
Downstairs, the engineers in blue.
Out to the Gulf for a possible war with Iraq is much higher than expected. Defence Secretary Jeff.
In many ways, they are two separate worlds that meet briefly on the flight line, but each is vital to the other.
Cape for Dobsy 174, dual and full of fuel, please.
The engineers and flight line mechanics are not part of the RAF. They're local civilians who work for a private contractor.
Whilst we focus on pilots, we should not underestimate the value of all the other people. We're in this as a team. Servicemen, civilians and contractors. You know, we're all in this together, preparing people to be the future of our service. Pilots are important, but in all honesty, no engineers, no aircraft to fly, you may as well not bother with the pilots.
After 4 years at Valley, Emma Corbett wants to become an engineer. She's applied for the training, she's been assessed, and today she'll find out the result.
Outstanding punctuality, often arriving well before shift, start times and commencing work immediately. Very good with hand tools, has displayed a keen interest in the propulsion trade over the past 2.5 years and is always keen to assist whenever possible.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you surprised?
I was hoping for it quite a lot, but now I've actually got it. It's a bit of a step back, really. I'm quite pleased with the marks that I have got. I was also told as well that it's the highest marks that somebody's got for things that were on there, so I was quite chuffed with it, really.
So you're top of the group?
Yeah.
This is the Rolls-Royce Ardor twin-shaft turbofan engine. If Emma is to qualify as an engineer, she'll have to get to know it inside out in the next 9 months. Until now, she's worked as a liney on the flight line. The number of sorties flown each day depends on how quickly she can complete the mechanical checks.
Basically, they're the customer. We're just here to help them get through their courses, really. You know, we try our best. Sometimes we're short-staffed, but we work quite hard just to try and get those aircraft up and flying and serviceable for them.
10 years ago, RAF Valley was behind wire, largely cut off from the local community. Now, 800 civilians work here. Everybody on the base works with one aim: to get the fast jet pilots up into the air for training. RAF pilots are used as frontline troops and peacekeepers around the world. The demand for these new pilots has never been greater.
They've got to be prepared to fly away from the fixed bases that I was used to anywhere in the world and conduct operations at very short notice, depending on the political will of our masters. So we have to train the individual now to be extremely flexible, flexibility of thought, flexibility of operation. You will see from previous conflicts in Kosovo, Bosnia, the Gulf, and so on, how different things are. Will we need to fly at low level? Will we need to fly at high level? What sort of combat operations? No one can answer those questions. So the training burden has got much bigger.
The war against Iraq has begun with missile and airstrikes on Baghdad. American sources say senior Iraqi leaders, including Saddam Hussein, were targeted.
The Gulf War has little direct effect on day-to-day life at Valley. The training continues regardless.
People are obviously very aware of it going on and keeping abreast of sort of things that are happening. But the trouble is, on the squadron, the workload is always fairly high. We're going through the navigation phase, and the amount of work required on the squadron is pretty huge at that point. And so you're really focusing on quite a sort of selfish personal level, just focusing on your next trip. And so, yeah, I mean, we don't have the TV on all the time. We haven't got the radio on to the news channels. You know, we're pretty much just listening to music when we're trying to relax just before flying and things like that. Sort of switch one bit of your brain off and just dedicate yourself solely to what you're about to do in the aircraft, and then you can go back to concerning yourself on what's happening over there.
Obviously we're following all the events with interest, as anyone does, but for us it's more a get to the next stage, stepping stone type process we're going through. It's finish 2-8 squadron, go on to the next course type thing. So we're quite far removed down the chain, if you like, from frontline operations anywhere in the world.
A couple from Krikow in Powys are mourning the loss of their son, who has been killed in Iraq. RAF navigator David Rees-Williams died at the weekend when an American anti-aircraft missile battery shot down his Tornado by mistake. The pilot, Flight Lieutenant Kevin Barry Main, also died. They were returning to Kuwait after a mission over Iraq.
Four days after the conflict begins, anti-war protesters break into the base and bring the flying to a halt. The protesters chain themselves to the end of the runway. North Wales Police are brought in to help remove the protesters and escort them from the base.
There are many people who feel very strongly about this war in Iraq. There is a connection between the use of Welsh land, the use of Welsh airspace, and the training of these pilots who will go out then and use their skills in dropping bombs on the people of Iraq.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
The pilots are not immune to the growing opposition to the war in Iraq.
It's a fairly sombering time. I mean, there are people out there I know who went through officer training with me, and they're now deployed. Part of me thinks, yeah, it'd be great to be out there, be part of the experience. But on the other hand, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to go to war, especially one that's a conflict that's so patently unpopular at home. That can't be filling the troops with much confidence.
Lewis has just arrived in Farnborough for his air sickness course. It's make or break time for Lewis. The doctors strap him into machines that simulate the motion he experiences while flying. They'll take him to the point where he feels sick, then back off, and then take him to that point again and again until he builds up a tolerance.
The trick is not to make them so terribly unwell that they vomit or even that they feel terribly sick. Just to get to the stage where they're not feeling too good and then stop and then come back another time and start again.
After
Do you want a drink or anything?
half an hour, 45 minutes, it starts to make you feel just a little bit dizzy, a little bit stomach aware, as we say, but nothing more than that. In the past, when the Air Force was much less of a should we say, accommodating place than it is now, there was very much a culture that, if you feel sick, you're in some way, not as tough, not as hard as the other boys. I've got to make a stand, if you like, against my own physiology.
It's just a small, cloth-covered revolving box. But it's this that has exposed the symptoms that could end Lewis's dreams of becoming a fighter pilot.
Forward. Return.
I hate this woman with a passion.
Back.
The doctors here boast that this machine can make anyone sick.
Right.
While spinning, Lewis must systematically move his head forwards, backwards and to the side. As the speed increases, the effect is similar to doing aerobatics.
You're not aware of spinning, but as the fluid in the semicircular canal slows down, you could be spinning at tremendous speed and just be not aware of it at all until you move your head, and then you get a very, very strange tumbling sensation.
Back.
What symptoms?
A bit of tumbling on the left and right, and a bit bodily warm.
Return.
The aim of it is to provoke the symptoms and then for the body to adapt, but without going too far down the road towards actual vomiting.
Rate symptoms.
2. That's my nemesis. Yeah. That's what needs beating. But I think I'm on the way. I think I'm on the way to getting over it.
Starboard, go.
It's spring on Anglesey and the training continues.
90 starboard, go.
Mark and Rich are learning the complexities of battle turns.
Shackle. 45, my void. 45. Chicken, hackling, Sala.
this is totally new to all of us, so we're having to get out on the bikes and find out what it's all about. It's just a way of turning to stay more defensive than fighting wing formation, which is what we've done before. So it's a much wider formation, and it requires slightly more intricate patterns in the sky when you're making turns.
On the front line, they use battle quite a lot, and this sort of thing is going to be bread and butter, because when we're going off on training missions and things, we'll be going as pairs, less and less as singletons. So we'll be going in battle, which is this 2,000 yard spacing formation, and those turns we'll be doing all the time.
Dead wing. Lead 6. Heading 3. I'm on the grass here.
Up to this point, the pilots have just been learning how to fly a plane. Now they begin to train for battle situations.
What do you need to know?
From day one, the pilots are forced to face up to the realities of war.
Just do what you want.
Today is the start of teaching you to fly an aeroplane as a weapon system. Today is the start of teaching you to take an aircraft as a weapon and go out and kill somebody with it. Now that's a hard... Despite the change in political scenarios, the fundamentals of combat haven't changed throughout the ages, that they will one day have to go out and use their aircraft as a weapon system. Yeah. And if they haven't thought about it at this time of their training, it's time they did.
Can you kill somebody with your plane?
2 years down the line on the front line, yes. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. It's difficult to say what you think about it. Rest assured, you know that wherever you're being sent by people who have far more experience and knowledge of the situation into which you're being sent. And you know that it's going to be justified. I mean, I think obviously we keep in touch with what's going on ourselves so that we know if it's a just war, a just battle. I like to be sort of seen as someone who, instead of reading the paper in the morning, go, he's a very bad man, something should be done about him. You know, I'm actually going to be involved in the process and go and actually do it. But I mean, the question is, you know, are you going to be able to go and kill someone? I don't think you know until the first time you strap into an aircraft with live ordnance with a real target, and then I think you're going to go, so this is what it's going to feel like. But
night flying is a crucial part of pilot training at Valley. By April 2003, the RAF were flying 200 sorties a day in Iraq, the vast majority at night.
A lot of the modern battle, modern warfare is still done at night. It's kind of it's the oldest form of defence, I suppose, darkness. And against a lot of the enemies that we're sort of coming across, I think it's still the best one because of the low sort of maybe sophistication of some of the defences they've got.
The weirdest thing is, you know, when you're flying around, you know there are mountains around, thinking, I can see stuff, but I can't see mountains. So you fly at a height that you know you're going to be above them.
The constant bombing of Baghdad again forces the pilots to focus their minds on the idea of fighting and killing. Every sortie they now fly has taken on a new significance.
We're flying towards Liverpool just to a practice diversion. We're just going to fly around the instrument pattern and then come back here again. And he just said, "Oh, look at that! Sort of massive orange street lighting in front of us." I said, "That could be Baghdad in 2 years' time." We're flying towards Baghdad to find that the power station or whatever. And he said, "What's the difference? There's nothing. It's pitch dark and there's a whole load of street lighting. This could be exactly the same." Oh, blimey.
Increased elevation?
Nil.
Nausea?
Nil.
Back at Farnborough, Lewis has just completed his final session in the dreaded black box.
Do you want a drink?
No, I'm okay.
You're alright?
Yeah.
So, Lewis, here we have the chart. and I think it only tells you something that you know already about yourself, namely that you've done really extraordinarily well, that there's been a steady progression all the way from a motion dose that you tolerated about 100 to begin with, all the way up to 700 now. So that's a startlingly good increase. You should be proud of that. It isn't very much like an airplane, but we know that if you can do it for that device, you can also do it for an airplane.
Good, good. Well, that's reassuring to know, definitely, from my point of view.
So it's good news. Lewis, though, hasn't flown for 2 months. Now it's back to the cardboard cockpit. He can now tolerate the machines on the ground. They don't make him sick. But it's how he reacts in the air that will decide his future. Lewis moves on to the School of Aviation Medicine at Boscombe Down.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back in the flying environment, definitely. I've missed it.
Here, he will have to endure some extreme flying to see if the sickness recurs. This is an important moment for Lewis. No reaction means a clean bill of health. Nausea and sickness at this stage will call his future as a fast jet pilot into question. Lewis is battered by G-force in the skies above Hampshire.
Good. Yeah, good fun, good trip. Very productive.
So, any of these symptoms you get then? Dizziness?
No.
Bodily warmth?
No.
Headache?
No.
Sweating?
No.
Stomach awareness?
Yeah, mild.
Increased salivation?
No.
Nausea?
No.
Excellent. Okay. So that's good.
I got a few symptoms at the end of Squadron Leader Bull's aerobatics, just because I'm not flying, so I don't know what kind of motion's coming next, if you like. But I recovered really quickly, which is what we were trying to achieve, really. And then was able to carry on and do more stuff. So, yeah, successful sorting, definitely.
Lewis has survived. He's given the all clear to return to Valley and resume his fast jet training.
Well, I've been back 3 days. I've had 3 trips so far, and they've all gone pretty well with no sickness at all. And in fact, I feel much more sort of clear-headed and ahead of the game when in the air, which has been really, really good. And I'm really pleased that the course has had that much of an effect.
Lewis is taken out to the sick bin. He now joins a new group of pilots near the start of their training. Mark, Rich and Dave have leaped ahead in his absence and are just 2 hurdles away from finishing with the squadron.
It was quite sad to see that my friends from my original course have now gone on and doing other things. But at the same time, I'm excited about being back here and catching up with them. I'm only 3 months adrift, I think, and that's in the grand scheme of things, that's not very much, is it?
The Red Arrows fly into Valley to rehearse their summer display in the Anglesey skies. Their arrival offers the pilots a rare break in training. The Red Arrow pilots are wearing green flying suits because the display is still being shaped. Only when it's perfect will they be allowed to change into their iconic red suits.
Turning right, cross 19 and on at the threshold of 14. We'll line up, please, for a display takeoff.
The Red Arrows are no strangers to Valley. All of them were students here once. And they too, no doubt, struggled with battle terms, navigation and formation flying. But now they're some of the best pilots in the world.
It's the sort of thing that you always you sort of grow up thinking, oh, the better you become as a pilot, the less impressed you'll be by the red arrows, but totally the opposite way. Now that I'm flying the Hawk and know how to form ASIC, you see this and you're 10 times more impressed because you know actually literally how difficult it is.
Next on Combat Pilot, the pilots endure the centrifuge. We meet the man who scares the birds. And the pilots face their final hurdle at 2:08. These pilots know how to fly a Hawk jet. Now they're about to be taught how to kill with it. For the first time in 25 years, our cameras have been following a group of trainees at RAF Valley as they strive to become combat pilots. 2 of them are about to begin the last phase of their training. This is their final preparation for the front line. Failure at this stage is still a real threat.
Congratulations on getting to 19 Squadron. You're probably less than a year away from your frontline squadron, and you're probably less than 18 months away from being combat ready. People that have left here just over a year ago were preparing to go out to the Gulf. We're looking for you to fly the aircraft confidently and aggressively. We cannot afford to send anyone to the front line that's going to need to be carried.
Rich Fawkes first flew a plane while he was still at school. Ever since, he's wanted to be a combat pilot.
There's a lot to learn. Clearly, there's a lot to learn. I mean, they hit us with the information very quickly early on. So, I mean, the first briefing was straight into it. So, we know that the curve is going to be quite steep.
It's been Dave McBride's ambition since the age of 9. He's been an RAF navigator for 18 years, but at 38 still desperately wants to become a combat pilot.
I still can't believe I'm here. Squadron leader, navigator, fairly experienced, and I mean, it's brilliant that it's happened, but I still have days where I sit back and go, wow. And this is one of them.
The Hawks are being prepared for the trainee pilot's first flight as part of 19 Squadron.
When the students come to us, they have already learned to fly. They've already got their wings and they've proven that they can fly the aircraft. Our role is to introduce the frontline tactics and weapons. We are basically preparing them for the front line.
Dave and Rich are about to fly Air Defence Mission 1. It's the first time they'll use their aircraft as a weapon.
Right, looking for the ranges on the beam 2.5. You've seen the beam that 2.5 to 5 comes and goes very
They'll be taught some basic dogfighting techniques and how to shoot down an enemy aircraft at high speed.
Or even way before then, I think I might get the nose on here. Okay? So outside the turn circle, decreasing aspect, which means you end up looking more down his jet pipe. Think about what aspect you might be in.
It will test their ability to fight tactically and think instinctively at high speed.
Pickle the button and then start the count.
How long does the missile take to hit in the beam? 4 seconds, yeah, absolutely. It happens very quickly, it doesn't give you a lot of time, so lots of anticipation.
First time we're actually using the aircraft rather than learning how to fly the aircraft, how to land the aircraft, things like that. So this is the first time we're actually sort of thinking aggressively about shooting the Bandit, or trying not to get got ourselves.
First go at air defence in the front seat. I've been doing it for 17 years, sat in the back watching what's going on out the window, and now I've got to prove that I can actually do what I've been watching people do for all those years.
Dave and Rich have been paired together on 19 Squadron. They'll fly together in most of the sorties and tests, and each will need to learn how the other thinks. On this mission, they'll be doing air-to-air combat, and will take it in turns to practice shooting each other down. Today, Rich is the enemy. The exercise will take place high above the clouds at over 20,000 feet. Dave's physical and mental capacity is tested to the limit. His instructor watches from the back seat. Everything that Dave says and does is recorded.
Okay. Are you ready to go? Yes, indeed. So if you have control, Dave. Control. Left valve. Which turn? Go. Okay. Now that's the bucket level for top and I'll fly there.
Is a game of cat and mouse at over 500 miles an hour.
You shot coming flaps open. Austin's got being range of for 2.5, about 2.5 now. No shot, unfortunately. A bit of a low yo-yo. That's the problem, that you have to anticipate. It doesn't last very long at all. That's foul, 90 right, go. I think fraction too long on the unload there, but it's hard to tell. I can see him disappearing. Right into the stair there. Flaps over. In the stair. In range. Yeah, so I don't take a shot there. Yeah.
At last, Dave gets his man. If this was for real, Rich's Hawk would be falling to the ground in flames.
6.
How's that?
Cool, flying. Welcome to the world of air defence. You don't need to go to the gym when you're doing this game, because what you're doing up there is quite sufficient, I think.
Exhausting?
It is actually, it is, but there's the worst to come. There's AD3, there's the one when you ought to come where it's all the defensive stuff where you're looking over your shoulder, pulling maximum G, max performing the aeroplane for however long, half an hour, 40 minutes, and apparently that really is a biggie.
RAF Valley has been training combat pilots for over 50 years. Only the elite make it through to 19 Squadron. Those joining are only too aware of its history, tradition and high expectations. If pilots fail to meet the high standards, they'll be out, chopped.
Scary just because it's so much new to learn. You want to succeed. You don't want to come out looking bad. So it's scary because of the pressure. It's quite interesting how much harder we do have to work over the side. Well, I'm finding anyway. I think some of the guys may be finding otherwise.
We expect them to work hard, and certainly because they're getting ready for the front line, we expect them to prepare themselves. We give them the information that they need, but it's up to them to make sure that they know it. We expect them to show them the correct amount of initiative.
There's a lot more stuff to learn, and you have to be able to take it in a lot quicker and sort of inwardly digest, if you like, so that you can perform when you're up in the air
and you don't get a lot of time to sort of consolidate to think about it. You have to be able to be pretty much there or thereabouts first time. So yeah, whereas you got a bit more slack maybe over the other side. Get here and you know, the curve is definitely getting steeper.
Dave has passed his first few sorties with little difficulty, but now he's preparing to fly the Air Defence 3. This is one of the most physically demanding flights a pilot will ever experience, and one where they will feel the full force of gravity.
They're going to be looking over their shoulder all the time at a bad guy who's trying to shoot them, and they're starting off from a very defensive position, so the Bandit has a opportunity straight from the beginning to try and get shots away.
Yeah, quite nervous actually. Not nervous about the actual content of the trip, but nervous about the possibility of pulling a neck muscle, because this is the trip where people do occasionally. So that's sort of sitting in the back of the mind. But as long as I get my neck warmed up sufficiently, and then hopefully we'll be okay. But it's just one of those trips where it's high G, obviously with a helmet on, most of which is looking over your shoulder, but you've got to keep looking forwards, checking your height and all that sort of thing, that your speed's correct for the manoeuvre you're trying to do, and that you're not over G in the aircraft. So of course you're having to move under G and back, and if you're doing it under a few G it's fine, but once you're up at the top end, the 6 to 7 G, then it hurts.
At 7G, gravity is 7 times greater than normal. This means that Dave's head will weigh 7 times its usual weight. Just turning round to look behind will become physically exhausting. Dave is going to be chased in this sortie by an experienced frontline pilot, which will add to the pressure. Dave knows he'll have to keep his wits about him to avoid being shot down. In the crushing turns, gravity squeezes Dave's lungs, squashes his stomach and pushes blood to his feet. Just looking outside for the enemy requires tremendous physical effort. But Dave must remain focused or lose the battle.
Left line.
Yeah, so you get the lung into
40 minutes later, the mission is over.
Once I got into that crunch position in the second half of the trip, you know, really working hard, trying to get air in the lungs, and just ran out of energy on the very last one. Just trying to breathe. No, I just can't pull anymore because there's not enough oxygen going to the muscles. So, yeah, but he's assured me it does get easier the more you do, and I hope so. And these boys don't look as if they've been working. Spines. Oh, right, I'm gonna go and get changed.
Dave is progressing well, but Rich has been finding the going rather tougher. His recent performances have been poor. Only the best survive at Valley, and the pilots are made well aware of what happens if they don't make the grade.
Unfortunately, I have to talk to you about the more negative sides of the course, which are the review and suspension procedures. If you have a snag on a sortie, and everybody does, it'll be pretty much a straight refly. If that doesn't go very well, then you may get into flight commander review.
Right.
It's not uncommon either, and then we'll put a little bit of a package together, say 2 sorties. If that package goes badly, then we're down to squadron leader review, and that is an assessment ride.
Until you're sat in the shoes of the individuals going through the course, you have no understanding of the pressure that they feel on a daily basis. There are days when you wake up and wonder if it will be the last one that you'll have on the course, because you perceive, either rightly or wrongly, that the axe is about to fall in your direction.
Rich is watching the playback of his most recent flight. Air Defence 10.
Increase about, what, 13, 14 as a base? 90 right, go.
It didn't go well.
Well, not you, stay there. I thought it was a snapper one.
Ultimately, went up there and wasn't quite quick enough and sharp enough on what was happening at the time. So hopefully a couple of days on the ground, I'll just go through it all again, speed it up in my head, and I'll get up there and know what I'm doing. So,
the reason it's not working is because we're going the same way as the fight.
He failed the trip. The instructors of 19 Squadron discuss his performance and his future.
Okay then, we're here to discuss Rich Falk's performance in the AD phase and how it's all gone a bit Pete Tong for him.
We've got two aircraft, two friendly, myself and in fact Dave McBride, who's sort of the wingman. We've been working together in this phase with one bandit.
And he got everything right in the brief. So on a Magi board with sticky shapes saying, this is the picture of what happens here, he got it right every time. If you do it in the air, when he's got, to fly the aircraft, think about his fuel and everything else, then at the moment he won't give you the correct answer. To a point where he'd make the wrong decision, change it incorrectly, and then change it again.
Shoot him, come on! Outside range.
Bits and pieces then to make it untidy. Fox 2's taken when the bandit and his wingman are in the same piece of sky, so, possibility of shooting his wingman down there.
Really, because we haven't really got it sussed yet, have we? Jeez.
By now he's not really enjoying himself, He's not having a good time. It's gone that badly that he knows it's gone that badly as well. Okay. You can get to a point where you could ask him his name and you might not get the right answer because the guy's just overloaded.
Sapper, 2 Fox 2.
As long as he's just sitting on the ground, which I'm trying to do now, and go through it all sort of 100 times, then it becomes sort of muscle memory sort of thing.
For him, he needs to just think on his feet in the air, and it will be make or break. He'll either click and his performance will improve, or he'll flatline.
They've come to a decision. Rich will have to refly his last 3 sorties. Dave is to remain his partner. The hope is that his experience will encourage Rich and pull him through. The next day, Rich is due to refly his air combat exercises, but the weather isn't favourable. Pilots have to get used to weather delays, but that doesn't make things any easier for Rich. If it doesn't clear, then Rich and Dave may not fly at all.
The cloud base here is 2,000 feet. It's solid up to flight level 225. 5 miles south of here. It's solid up to flight level 185.
It's official, there's too much high-level cloud for flying. That gives Rich more time to prepare, but it also means more time to worry.
That's the best thing to do on a bad weather day. Sit down and get well ahead of the game, and hopefully be on top of it before we get there. So just keep working, because once the good weather does come, you don't get time to really sit down and consolidate all the stuff that you're trying to learn.
The weather clears at last, but Rich has to put his sorties and anxieties to one side. RAF Valley is hosting its annual reception for local people on Anglesey. Whatever else is on their minds, the officers must attend and mingle.
Yeah, you let yourself down a bit, or that's how you feel, but then most people, I think, do feel a trip or two. As long as it doesn't become a trend, I think. As long as you can not let it get you too down and jump back in the aircraft next time.
A few days later, flying conditions are perfect, and Rich has to prove that he really does have what it takes to become a combat pilot. It could be the last chance to prove himself.
Sometimes we have trainees who just can't get the pictures in the air combat. They don't have a 3D brain, and they find it very difficult to see situations developing and react accordingly. We give them fairly advanced and complex sorties to try and learn, and some of the trainees just find that it becomes too much for them. They just get to a brick wall effectively, and they can't raise their game anymore.
Rich has earned himself a reprieve. He's passed the sortie.
The pressure was on, but I knew that I was fairly confident that I could do it, because I knew that it was just a matter of sitting down and working it all out in my head before going and doing it again.
And the last few days you've had to work quite closely with Dave. How far is the camaraderie out?
Oh, excellently, yeah. I mean, obviously we get on very well. We've been, all working together, same squadron for the last year or so now. And yeah, that's been awesome. And obviously he knows huge amounts about air defence because he's been around for about 15 years doing it. So yeah, sure this next phase is going to be even more on top of what's going on. It's properly into his old domain. So.
Rich is finally allowed to move on to the next stage of his training, but he knows things won't get any easier. To ensure he's fully prepared for what's ahead, he goes to the Hawk simulator for his next exercise before doing it for real. His mission: to track down an enemy aircraft that has invaded Britain's virtual airspace. This will be shoot to kill. Ground control will keep him updated on the location, direction and speed of the enemy intruder.
Tiger 1 target 270, 43 miles, heading 060, 15,000 feet, mission engage. Two, 5, 8, 17. Tiger 1, the target declared hostile.
This simulator is the only one of its kind in Britain and cost £18 million to build. The graphics are very realistic. The one major difference between this and doing it for real is the absence of the G-force, which can scramble the brain. Now Rich has to prove he can fly the mission for real. It looks as though Rich has reached his limits. Once again, the mission was beyond him. He's given one final chance. He's to fly with a squadron commander in what's known by the pilots as the chop ride.
Rich has been having a few problems. We've got to the point where I need to fly an assessment sortie with him. And effectively, that's because he's been given some remedial training, He has improved on some sorties, but then we've had a bit of a regression in some aspects as well. He has been told that he needs to pass this sortie to continue. He doesn't need to pull out a fantastic performance. All I'm looking for is the course standard that we would expect at this stage of training.
It's make or break. This could well be the end of Rich's dream of becoming a combat pilot. Rich is up in the air for almost an hour. Every move he makes, every word he utters is scrutinised. His entire future rests on this performance. He's putting a brave face on it, but things don't look good for Rich. In accordance with tradition at RAF Valley, an axe is drawn above his head on the course photograph. His childhood dreams are over. He's failed. He's been chopped.
It's a hard thing for us to have to do to someone, to basically take away their dream. However, we have to do it because it's for their own safety, for the safety of others, and also because we need people on the front line who can actually do the job. But he seemed to understand, he seemed to accept, and a couple of times in the air, I think he sort of realised that this was probably beyond him. So he took it very well.
The deeper into the AD phase I got, the more I realised that I probably wasn't the Red Baron. And, yeah, but hey, there you go. They tried, they threw a few extra chips at me and extra tuition experts, and I still couldn't put it out of the bag, so there we go. Gave my best. Let's move on, see what else happens. Come on, drink the pink drink, pink golden.
The pressure all the way through, you never think it's going to be you, and then all of a sudden he's finished, and that's it. So a massive pressure relief, stress relief for him, in that the pressure he was under has stopped, but of course now he's wondering what's next.
After you sort of fail a certain number of trips, you start to think, well, I don't know, is this for me? Am I actually cut out for it? Am I going to make it through or not? And I guess inevitably, although I never stopped wanting to get to the end, I suppose you do start to struggle to believe in yourself and believe that you can actually make it through.
After leaving Valley, Rich is sent to train as an RAF transport pilot.
Runway heading flight level 80.
He will never fire a missile or drop a bomb. His job will be to supply the pilots on the front line who do make it as combat pilots.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll be deep in the operations of a squadron, doing something that's worthy for the country and worthy for the Air Force, and helping out my friends on the front line and the fast jets. So.
In the final episode of Combat Pilot, Dave gets to drop bombs on a beach in West Wales. Pilots get to grips with low-level flying in the wilderness of Canada. And we'll find out how many of the pilots make it onto the front line.
And you can find out more about the making of the programme and the recruits at bbc.co.uk/combatpilot.
This pilot is about to fire at a target on a beach in West Wales.
We carry one gun. He fires 1,200 rounds a minute.
Dave McBride is the first of the pilots we've been following to make it to the final stages of training at RAF Valley. This is the most demanding phase of the course.
When you come onto the range, you flick your switch guard up to the dangerous position from the safe position.
Dave has seen combat before as an RAF navigator. As a pilot, he'll be firing the weapons himself.
The bomb itself is a 3-kilogram bomb.
Apprehensive, yeah, just because it's still fear of failure, you know, you never know. The course, the learning curve on the course is massively steep here.
Mark Baker has been sent from RAF Valley to Canada for the final stages of his training.
Go up and do an exercise with an instructor, and then next trip you're up doing it yourself.
It's open day at RAF Valley. Pilots and aircraft from all over Britain gather on Anglesey to take part. The star of the show was the F-15 Strike Eagle, the state-of-the-art American fighter bomber.
As aeroplanes go, that is sex. I think most people would agree. What would you do if you had one of those? One of those, we'd kick everybody's ass. That'd be it. Yeah, no doubt about it whatsoever. You can't get away from it. They've got really good airplanes, but we are better than them. Yes, they have some very good guys, but our training is still the best, and we are bloody good. And you put a good crew together in this, and they can go out and do a damn good job with it.
This is the British fighter, the Tornado F3. Dave McBride spent 18 years as a navigator in this aircraft. He wants to rejoin his colleagues as a pilot. He's nearly there, but the most grueling part of the course is still to come, and he knows success is by no means guaranteed.
You are taking our young pilots close to the point of mental saturation. An awful lot of people get out of the aircraft having been flying for 30 or 40 minutes, and they are dripping with sweat. It is not just the physical effort, it is the mental strain that goes with that exercise.
Dave is about to undertake a weapons exercise in Valley's multi-million-pound simulator.
It's the thing of being assessed the whole time. If you imagine how you felt when you did your driving test, how nervous the average person feels, well, put that to every trip, and that's how it feels.
The virtual runway is that of RAF St Athan in the Vale of Glamorgan. The route takes him west over Aberthorpe Power Station. Dave's destination is the bombing range at Pembrey in Carmarthenshire.
This is Pembrey Land. Number 1, clear hot centre panel.
Dave has to hit the target from a low level. He has to show that he can cope with the complex thinking involved in such a mission before he does it with real ammunition. Dave gets points for every hit, but that isn't enough. He has to be consistent in his technique. The RAF invests a lot of time and money in these pilots. Training costs millions. A frontline jet, over 30 million. They need good results in return.
That's nice. 5 hits.
Dave has had a few good hits, but needs more work on his technique. Next time it will be for real. The pressure is on.
So as you can see, I'm sweating.
Not easy. Oh, dear.
The Four-Wing Air Force Base in Canada. Mark Baker is joined here by fellow pilot Lee Ahern for the final part of their combat training, because Valley can't meet the RAF's increasing demand for fast jet pilots. It's a NATO Air Force base. Here, Mark and Lee will use the most up-to-date weaponry and rub shoulders with frontline pilots from all over the world, some fresh from active service.
I get to work with other nationalities that, of course, we will be working with throughout NATO, throughout our careers.
Different sort of nationalities have different sort of ways of doing things, and you can pick up slightly different mindsets probably about flying certain things.
We've got some Swedish, we've got some German, some Finnish, Hungarians. It's really quite a mix. The flying has got to be the best thing about Canada, simply in terms of the aircraft that we've got to fly and the airspace that we've got to fly it in. If you were to take the whole training area and overlay it over Europe, it fills up something like 3/4 of the size of Europe. The amount of airspace is absolutely extraordinary.
The course is very similar to the one at RAF Valley, but they use a much more modern Hawk jet and the latest technology used on the front line.
Okay, this is the cockpit of the 155. Most obvious difference to the T1 is the head-up display, which is right in front of the pilot's field of view.
The head-up display unit replaces all the customary cockpit meters and dials with one fully integrated screen.
And it means that you can have all the information in front of you, so you're looking through it, so you don't have to keep glancing down into the cockpit.
5, 10.
It allows you to keep a lot more eyes out of the aircraft, looking for other aircraft, fighting.
25, 30.
Aircraft in the front line all have head-up displays, multi-function displays, and the kind of electronics that this Hawk has. So.
Lee is preparing for a training sortie in the Hawk. His instructor is Danish. The mission, low-level flying.
The RAF are world renowned for their low-level flying, and if there's a job generally to do at low level, we'll do it, and we can do it because we train for it, and historically we've got the experience of doing it. So low level particularly is what I enjoy. Legalised hooliganism really, best kept secret, 420 knots to 250 feet and bombing targets. It's brilliant.
Altitude. Pull up. Big thing to remember is always to look ahead. Okay, you make a mistake, you will die. Roger. Especially if you're at 250 feet, you don't have 3 seconds. Happy? Happy.
Lee isn't flying at low level just for the fun of it. This is an exercise in evading an incoming missile, or spike.
Spike. 1 o'clock.
Lee shifts the aircraft 90 degrees to maximize his speed away from the incoming missile.
Shaft flare.
He then makes a sharp ascent, twists, and then plummets down towards the ground.
Train's flat.
If he does it fast enough, then the missile should be speeding away elsewhere.
Spike, 2 o'clock. Shaft flare. 10, 50, shaft flare. Action 6. Shaft flare. Good horizon. Train's flat. Well, that's good. 20 for 10. Shaft flare. 10 for 5. Shaft flare. Excellent. Happy with those? Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Awesome fun. Really, really good. Lovely afternoon. Jet, everything worked. It was really beautiful.
Back in Britain, the pilots of 19 Squadron have moved down to RAF St Athan in South Wales. The Hawks are being prepared for a mission to the bombing ranges of Pembrey. This is Dave's first flight with live ammunition.
They're flying at 7 miles per minute. If they literally make a major mistake, it could have fatal consequences in seconds. That alone is going to focus your attention.
You've got the pressure of the fact that you're hurtling around in this fantastic little sports car of a Hawk, and now with weapons on as well. So the last thing you want to do is make a mess of something, switches in the wrong position, and have a bomb come off the aeroplane in the wrong place. So put all that together with the fact you are being assessed the whole time, and the fact that if you fail a trip, you're then on to the start of the slippery slope.
Speed 1, roger. 729, clear hot straight, surface wind 11 o'clock, 10 knots.
Close to the target is the control tower. Staff here ensure that all civilians and livestock are at a safe distance from the danger zone. They also monitor the pilot's accuracy. The demands are high. First Dave is shooting bullets. The gun sight he's using is a small inverted T in the upper third of the screen. He has to come out of a sharp turn at just the right moment. Then he needs to line the plane with the target, all at a speed of 400 miles per hour.
Score 6, slightly left to centre.
Bombing is even more demanding. Where the bomb lands depends not only on the speed and direction of the aircraft, but also the speed and direction of the wind.
729 in hot.
720 right hand panel, surface wind at 12 o'clock, 6 knots.
Dave has to do some rapid mental arithmetic and adjust his bomb sight as he approaches the bombing range.
In hot level FRA.
It's split-second timing. At these speeds, half a second can make a difference of 60 feet or more on the ground. Given all he has to think about, his passes are remarkably accurate. Every mission is a test, and Dave's performance is assessed. Every element of the sortie is recorded and can now be minutely analysed.
Just keep bug on the beach for longer.
That's it, what caught me out was the speed of it coming through the tunnel.
Speed was reasonable. So it's good technique. See how your precautions work out. First of all, it was nice, good heights and everything. Questions for me?
No, that was nice, thank you.
Right, let's go and look at the weather, the next one.
Yeah.
He's passed the test, but he can't afford to get complacent. He could still fail the course.
There we go, all over. That was good. Came out as a nice trip. So, satisfied. Good mark, good score on the doors. Bombs are not too long, which is good. So I'm going to head off and see what the weather's like for the solo.
At the NATO base in Canada, Mark and Lee have been paired together for training. They will live together, fly together, study together, and eventually fight together.
When we're working together, we've got to rely on each other and make sure that if he, for example, if we're just doing 2v1 engagements, if he engages the bandit and I go away to get some separation, he's got to trust me that I'm actually going to come back and tell him, right, come off the bandit now and I will kill him for you. And when we actually get into a real wartime scenario, you've got to have supreme trust in the person that you're with, that they will actually do that.
Burn in. And now. And shoot everyone has sight on, runway enable. Cool. Break right. Bandit, you're 6 o'clock, 1 mile. Come on, tally.
Obviously, I want to get to the front line. I want to get to a combat aircraft, and I want to be part of the elite. If at some point I am called to go to war, of course I will go. But I'm not looking forward to it, and I don't relish it.
It is what we train for. You try and think about it all you can. You think, what ifs. I think it's virtually impossible to say before you're actually in that situation how you're going to feel, at the exact moment when you're up in the air dropping whatever onto targets.
When I was a little boy, I used to see the jets flying down the valley, and I used to look up and say, "Look, Mum, Nan, I'm going to fly one of those one day." And they were like, "Oh, of course you are." And 20 years later, I actually did that. Massive sense of achievement.
And shooter 1 is offensive. Shooter 2, tally visual. Shooters, hard left, bandit by 9 o'clock, 3 miles.
We don't undertake this lightly. We don't go into it without thinking about it. But there are good times to be had. The flying's great, and it's something that will never happen to me, so they say.
At RAF St Athan, they service the Tornado F3.
Flown that one again. 559, yeah.
Dave was a navigator in this very aircraft. It took him to the front line where he saw the harsh realities of war. It brings back lots of memories. He has a history with this plane.
It's a fighter, and all I ever wanted to do from being a little boy was be a fighter pilot. Hopefully that's where I'll be, in that front cockpit, flying the aeroplane roughly the start of next year, January, February next year, which would be nice. And instead of sitting up there in the back cockpit, hidden down in the workshop at the back there, I'll be in the front, the business end, doing the stuff, listening to what the guy's saying in the back, doing as he's asking and fighting the aeroplane.
Looking at the back seat there, Dave, does it bring back memories for you?
Yeah, it's 1,700 hours, lots of memories in there. I flew in the original Gulf War right at the start, and flown over Bosnia, policed Bosnia two sessions, and obviously lots of stints down the Falklands as well. So yeah, lots of good memories and lots of bad memories as well. I've had friends killed in the aeroplane, so you know, being stood next to it again makes you think, because it is a serious business. Yeah, lots of memories, good and bad. Lots.
Dave is nearing the end of his training. This is his final sortie as a trainee at RAF Valley. The last time he'll fly a Hawk over Wales. It's almost a year to the day since Dave first sat in the cockpit of a Hawk jet. Now he's to find out how well he's done and whether he can return to the front line as a pilot. The powers that be are meeting to make that crucial decision.
Okay, welcome to the roll disposal of TW11 course. They're a bit of a mixed bag of age and experience, and at the moment they're ASFRAG -1.
2-seat rec.
Senior officers at Valley link up with RAF HQ in Gloucester to discuss the pilot's future.
You can see that he started off average to high average, and pretty much throughout his airmanship and his captaincy have been nice. His scores are generally pretty good, although he tends to lack the smoothness that he could have. But the comment from the staff guys who have flown the later SAPs and the op sorties have been that he appears to be getting capacity limited in the OS role as the workload's increased, characterised by some erratic MSD and a couple of iffy calls on the nav.
Dave and the other pilots are in the officers' mess, awaiting their fate.
Very nervous, very nervous. Because what you're about to see is potentially life-changing situation, you know, whatever aircraft we end up on. You know, everybody's just been looking more and more grey and ashen as the day's gone on, waiting for this. And in an hour and a half's time, we're going to know where we're going.
It would be too easy to merely tell the pilots which aircraft they'll fly. Instead, they face a bizarre ritual involving the Wheel of Fortune, a football, and a lot of alcohol.
Is that a yes or a no? Or is that a no?
A Harrier, not Dave's choice of aircraft. But before he's told his destiny, he must score a goal. And for every wrong aeroplane, there's a shot of alcohol. A hotspot, that's a drink. He's landed here before. Another hotspot means another drink. One pilot after another is put out of his misery. Dave is the last to find out. He finally lands on his beloved Tornado F3. This is the aircraft he desperately wants to fly. This is the moment that decides his future. But first, he has to score a goal.
Go on! Go on! Go on! Yeah!
18 years of determination and self-belief. A grueling 12 months at Valley. But navigator Dave McBride is now a combat pilot.
Dave McBride has been extremely successful and achieved all we could have hoped for and more, has done really well and has set himself up really nicely for a future career as a pilot in the Air Force.
Bring it on!
Dave leaves Wales to fly the Tornado F3.
Fresh-faced youth that walk through the door, they have truly assumed the mantle that we wanted them to on day one.
Mark Baker has excelled in Canada. He goes on to fly the RAF's most demanding aircraft, the Harrier. Welshman Lee Ahern was selected to fly the Tornado GR4. Rich Fawkes didn't make it through the course. He's now flying RAF transport aircraft. Lewis Cunningham was nearly chopped because of air sickness. But he's since succeeded. He too gets to fly the Harrier. The pilots have experienced hardship, frustration, tension, and elation. They leave, but the work continues at Valley.
Training ordinary people to do extraordinary things.
The pilots came as rookies. They leave as combat pilots.
There's a chance to win a VIP day out at RAF Valley on Anglesey for yourself and 3 friends. Just log on to bbc.co.uk/combat pilot.
The Ogwen Valley in Snowdonia, low-flying territory. If the pilot is on course, then in 5 seconds' time, a Hawk T Mark 1 will fly through it at 7 miles a minute. Of the pilots we've been following through their fast jet training at RAF Valley on Anglesey, 3 are now just 6 flights away from finishing the crucial first stage, 208 Squadron. But these last flights will be the toughest yet.
These are just the initial first scenes from jubilation in Baghdad. Now the Americans are going to have
On April the 9th, 2003, the statue of Saddam Hussein is pulled down in Baghdad.
In other parts of the city, there were images of unbridled joy and gratitude.
But today, Dave McBride has no time for world events. Dave is taking his final navigation test.
Are you equipped for it? Are you ready?
Yeah, definitely ready, but it's one of those things, it's a test. There's all sorts of things that could go wrong on the day of a test, so it's never a given, apart from the odd sky god that comes through that does it without thinking about it, and there are not many of those around.
Dave has been given 3 map references in Wales. He now has 3 hours to find and identify the targets, plan an effective route of attack, brief his examiner, and get airborne.
Unless there's a building.
The first target is easy, a building perched on the side of a hill near Ludlow.
The second target is a very small lake, and in the middle of that lake is a feature. And he's got to do a recce on that and find out what that feature is. And the last one is the bridge, which is difficult to attack from any direction.
A bit of extra pressure, which some days benefits me, other days it doesn't.
The politics of war demands enormous skill from today's pilots. Precision low flying is an essential skill in reducing collateral damage.
It's a very topical thing at the moment with the war going on and the accuracy of our weapons, but it's also the accuracy of the guy who's flying the airplane and his decision-making process. And I think, it's essential training.
With 18 years' experience already in the RAF, low-level flying is nothing new to Dave McBride. But those years were spent as a navigator, not a pilot. The next hour will be a severe test of Dave's skill at the controls. And his examiner will be in the back, watching every move. The first task is to find a building on the side of the hill. It's a small white farmhouse. For his second task, Dave must fly over a lake and identify the target. It's a small island. The last target is the most difficult. Dave has to find a bridge at the bottom of a narrow valley. Target located, Dave heads for home.
My grin is because I've just passed another big test. We did it. So let me into the secret. Absolutely. Yeah. Time to get changed because I am soaking. And you don't want that on film, I can tell you.
Dave is now one step closer to finishing the course.
It's not been any harder than I expected, but it's been harder than I hoped personally. I was hoping I was going to ace it, but I haven't. I've just been like everybody else, had to work damn hard to actually get this far, and we're 9 trips to go. Most of us are close to the end of this phase.
Hey, mate. Hey. Congratulations. Sweet, mate. Sweet, mate.
Dave can now move his marker on the pilot's unofficial course board.
Sweet. We're in.
He and the other pilots have passed the navigation hurdle. It's been a grueling 6 months, but they're now just 2 weeks away from the last test on 208 Squadron. There's over 5,000 hours of low-level flying in Wales every year. For those on the ground, low flying can be a source of fascination or a nuisance.
I don't know how many of them actually stop to think, I wonder what he's been doing for the last 2 minutes. The fact that he was 20 miles away 3 minutes ago and he's going to be 20 miles, further that way. in another 3 minutes.
And as far as they're concerned, it's great, you must be sat in there looking out the window, beautiful day, flying low level, great fun, how can that be stressful?
Occasionally when you're working really hard, you're thinking, this isn't any fun at all, you know, I'm really under pressure here and it's not going well.
You've got to pass the trip, because if you don't, then you're not going to succeed, and nobody wants to fail.
You think about your next turning point, you think about how your fuel's going, are you going to be able to get to the next target?
It doesn't take much of a mistake to fly into the ground.
What's the weather like for pulling up? Who are you going to talk to when you pull up? You've got controlled airspace. You've got huge numbers of things that you're always thinking about.
And so it just focuses your mind as to what you're doing, because it is a very dangerous environment.
Okay, he's going to harp at you for 300, but if you're just a little bit low, he's going to be nibbing you the whole time.
There is one particular danger that the pilots have to be constantly aware of at low level. This is recent footage from the gun sight camera of a Hawk jet on a training sortie from RAF Valley. This indistinct smudge is a large bird of prey. It's about to hit them at 500 miles per hour. The bird punches a hole straight through the thick Perspex canopy. The pilot was lucky to land safely. RAF Valley is sandwiched between a beach and a bird sanctuary. The risk of bird strikes is a real danger. Repairing aircraft hit by birds is a regular task for the engineers at RAF Valley. This Hawk jet was hit by a pigeon. It went straight through the aluminium casing. Patrolling the airfield is Dewi Thomas, Valley's bird control. He has two ways to scare the birds: with flares and with distress calls.
Well, I'll put this one in for you, which is one of my favourites.
If a pilot reports a bird strike, it's Dewi's job to check it out.
We just heard on the radio now that there's a Tornado F3 inbound with a suspected bird strike. So this is where I start to jump into action a bit. We'll go and inspect it and have a quick chat with the aircrew.
What did you think when it landed? It looked like it had a bird strike?
Well, it's our SAF's vacated 26. Well, from the side where we were looking at, I couldn't see any obvious signs, but we'll soon find out now. Anyway, we'll just go around the corner here and get to it. Did you actually?
We didn't see anything. We felt the thump at high speed, and visual inspection, nothing obvious.
Nothing.
Bird strikes cost the RAF over £20 million a year in repair costs.
We've had a good look around the aircraft. There's no visible sign of anything. They've had a good sniff down the air intake as well, which apparently if a bird gets sucked into the engine, it smells like roast chicken from the back end of the engine. They reckon there's nothing there, so it looks as though it's going to be all right, but we'll make a note of it anyway, just in case the engineers later on find something.
It's Anglesey, it's spring, and the weather is unpredictable. It's crunch day for trainees Mark Baker, Rich Fawkes and Dave McBride. Today they face their last hurdle at 208 Squadron, the final handling test. Beforehand, the pilots will fly what's called a pre-ride to iron out any problems. It's like a final lesson before your driving test.
I know that shouldn't happen, but if you fly through slipstream at low level, you could get some control difficulties, so try and avoid it in the first place. If you do, then make sure your aircraft is going up. If your aircraft is not going up in control, you only have one decision to make, which is get out of it.
Dave flew his pre-ride yesterday, and it didn't go well. He wasn't allowed to take the test.
Avoid it in the first place and then we shouldn't have a problem.
Now he has another chance. There's a seriousness about Dave today and a reluctance to talk. This is the culmination of 6 months hard graft at Valley, and if he fails, the end of his lifelong dream of becoming a fast jet pilot. As they get ready, Rich and Mark seem more relaxed.
Big day for you, I guess.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, final handling test. That's the culmination of everything we learned here. See if we can actually display it all in one trip. We've got the pre-ride to prove ourselves first.
So, Mark, big day.
Yes, got to be strong today.
Are you confident? Yeah, well, the pre-ride goes well, and I feel better about the test. So. One at a time.
If I pass, that's going to be awesome. Yeah. The perfect finish. Yeah. I mean, it's just annoying that the weather's closing in.
The weather's not great today. This is the best part of the day, the early morning. It's deteriorating from the south, the cloud's going to thicken up, and the visibility at low level is okay, so hopefully they'll get a little bit of that in. The medium level is going to be a bit tricky for them. There's not much of a horizon out there, so it's going to be like flying around a goldfish bowl, so they've got to be careful there. But again, it's interesting for the tester in the back seat, because he's looking to see whether the guy or the girl in the front seat is making sensible, safe decisions. So at the end of the day, that's what we've just spent millions of pounds and many months training them to do.
Dave is still on the flight line. He's been sitting for 25 minutes waiting for the test. There's a technical hitch. The frustration mounts as he watches Mark and Rich take off. Having failed this trip yesterday, the hold-up couldn't have come at a worse time. There's a further 20 minutes delay before Dave is given the all-clear to take off. The pilots spend an hour in the skies over North Wales going through all they've learnt. They need to find a target 20 miles west with just a stopwatch and compass to guide them. They tail chase at 500 miles per hour when the plane in front can go any direction at any time. And they fly in close formation with wingtips just a few meters apart.
How'd it get on, Jim? Hey, it was a good trip for him, yeah. It was far better than yesterday, so why I couldn't do it yesterday, I don't know.
But you're ready for the big test, yeah?
I think so.
There we go. The man has spoken. Yes. Well, sooner the better, thank you.
By 10:30, Dave has had his debrief. The result was not what he expected.
Got to the end of the debrief, and he started talking about 19 Squadron, and you know, of course, when you're there, you know, you're gonna have to work hard, and you're doing this, you know, and is sat there now, sort of half confused, thinking it's a strange line of conversation at the end of the debrief. And then he said, so with all that in mind, well done, you've just passed your FHT. This is a bonus of doing the GH25 with a tester.
So that's it.
He said there was no point putting you through the stress of going and doing the test, you've just passed. Absolutely stunned. So that's it, it's all over, the pressure has finished.
Mark and Rich still have to fly the final test, but for them there's an added complication.
I don't think we're ever going to have any particularly low clouds, but the first spots of rain will probably arrive between 10 and 11 o'clock.
Threatening rainstorms have swept in from the south. Conditions in Snowdonia are too rough, so the test is switched to Scotland.
It means we have to come up with a new plan in about 5 minutes, having just done the previous plan. It's all right. It's not supposed to be easy.
The military pilot has to get the aeroplane airborne and go and achieve the mission, whatever the weather and whatever the conditions. And these guys have got to show that quality, and they won't fly this sortie successfully if they don't show those characteristics. So the final handling test today, in today's weather conditions, is quite a challenge for them.
They have just half an hour to get the new maps, make new flight plans and check out no-fly zones. An added hazard is the Queen, who's flying around that area in a helicopter. Time is tight. Dave McBride lends a helping hand.
When they got here on their first trip, they walked out to the aeroplane, they climbed up the ladder, they sat in the aircraft and they closed the lid and they went flying. Today, in this sortie, they will stride out to the aircraft and they will strap it on their backs, go out and do the job.
By the end of the day, the tunnel was
The pilots will be away from Valley for over an hour. Now every manoeuvre they practiced this morning is tested in bad weather, unfamiliar surroundings, and with a flight plan that changes by the minute.
We'll start picking up some strata Q.
That was a good trip. Yeah, did well. A happy chappy.
Does that mean he's passed?
He's passed,
yes,
yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. He's not going to listen to the debrief now. No.
Blah, 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 blah.
Well done. Good trip. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Success?
Yes, very successful. Awful day. A lot of thinking to be done there, a lot of reorganisation. Yeah, very well done. Very well done.
It's absolutely brilliant, yeah. Well, very chuffed, yeah. It's quite sort of hard work at times, trying to work out exactly what was going on, what's going to happen. Yeah, I am pleased, definitely.
Now that Mark, Rich and Dave have all passed the last hurdle on 208 Squadron, there are a number of formalities to go through.
Like drafts.
Firstly, they pass the finishing post on the pilot's unofficial course board.
Finish.
Secondly, the course commanders meet and begin to work out where the pilots will go next.
Look at the last one then, Mark. Like Baker.
Lastly, there's a trip to Farnborough. The pilots have to have their tolerance to G-force tested on a centrifuge. G-force is the extra gravitational pull that pilots feel when turning at high speed. The reason they're being put through all this is that Valley sends 2 students per course to finish their training at a NATO base in Canada. To qualify, they must be young, unmarried, and able to tolerate the 8G. Rich Fawkes and Mark Baker are young and unmarried, but can they cope with a G?
It's going to be fairly unpleasant. I think the worst bit's waiting in the room, actually, before your go. So I'm quite glad to get it go next. Excuse me.
Camera's there, the G meter's there. That's about it. Okay.
Yep.
Let's go.
Righto then, you ready for 6?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, 6G when you're ready, please.
Stand by.
Stand by, 6G.
At high G, gravity pulls blood away from the brain. Normally, this would lead to blackout. Pilots are trained to prevent this by tensing their muscles, keeping blood in the upper body.
Just try backing off a little bit with the muscle tense.
At 6G, Mark is asked to relax. If he's heading for blackout, he'll start to get tunnel vision. They need to assess his natural G tolerance before building the pressure up to 8.
How was that then?
Oh, that's very unpleasant.
Will you re-aim to please?
I did get a bit of sort of mistiness. Didn't really come from the sides, just all sort of went hazy.
Yeah, that looked fairly leisurely from my perspective. Obviously your G tolerance is probably slightly on the high side, which helps. Alright, if we can set up 8 then please.
Set up 8G, 15 seconds.
If Mark can take HG for 10 seconds, he'll qualify for combat training in Canada. Mark has passed the Canada test, and he could stop now. But so far today, every pilot has been up to 9G. Mark can hardly refuse.
Okay, I'll come and open the door.
Okay.
Not very nice. Yeah, it's not recommended, I don't think. But useful to do, I think.
You went for it, the 9G?
Yeah, I just want to see what the limit was, really. I mean, I know we only have to do 8, but it's useful to know in your own tolerance how high you can get. So, worth doing. Probably, in hindsight, it was not very nice, so I probably wouldn't have done it if I'd known. We're recommending to the rest of them not to bother.
Next up for high G is Rich Fawkes.
I'll do the same as the others. So go up to the 9-10 seconds. Yeah, see how far I can get. Should be good.
How well you can take G depends on your body shape, and it's not always men who are best at it.
Women also are much better at taking G because they've got a shorter distance between the heart and the head, generally. Women are usually better at sustaining G than men.
If you're tall, thin, and can run 20 miles, without having any effect on you, then you're going to have an incredibly low.
So if you're short, fat,
if you're short, fat, you eat pies and like beer, then clearly you can sustain 9G. So I'm quids in with that.
Rich passed the 8G test and then goes for the 9.
Go on, Rich.
Instant Darth Vader. Well, you were making so much noise that I thought we'd keep
At a traditional ceremony called creaming and streaming, the pilots find out what the future holds for them. There are 3 possibilities. Weapons training at 19 Squadron, RAF Valley. Weapons training at a NATO base in Canada, where they could be retrained as a Hawk instructor and teach at Valley. Dave gets what he wants, weapons training at 19 Squadron. Rich gets his wish, again weapons training at 19 Squadron. Mark desperately wants to go to Canada. It's not good news. He's got instructor training. But it's only a wind-up by the instructors. Mark gets Canada.
Obviously for my entire career so far it's been training at flying, just learning how to fly the aircraft, and at 19 for the first time we're going to actually get to experience and be shown how good or bad we actually are at using the aircraft as a weapons platform, and seeing whether we can get the bombs on target and whether we can shoot the guys who are trying to shoot us.
Next on Combat Pilot, Dave gets to grips with dogfighting and high G. As the pressure mounts, Rich's dream of becoming a fast jet pilot is in the balance.
This week the production team will be online answering your questions about the making of the programme at bbc.co.uk/combatpilot.